Hello, passionate Celtic FC fans. This is Celtic Central News, your exclusive source for Celtic updates. Before we kick off, we appreciate the incredible support. If you love Celtic, subscribe now, hit like, and let's build this community together. Now, onto the latest news. A warm welcome to new subscribers. Your support is crucial. Hail, hail. The football streets of Glasgow are buzzing like never before, and it is not hard to see why. The moment the whispers turned into shouts, the atmosphere around Celtic Park took on a whole new energy, as fans realized that this was not just another idle rumor drifting through the airwaves of Scottish football chatter. BOJAN MIOVSKI, the North Macedonian striker who has been tearing up defenses with Aberdeen, has officially signed with Celtic, and the magnitude of this move cannot be overstated. Picture it, a striker with pace, intelligence, and a Predator's instinct now wearing the iconic green and white hoops. Supporters have long demanded a forward capable of both leading the line with strength and sneaking into spaces with finesse, and in Miovski, they seem to have found that balance. But beyond the tactical significance, there is the emotional heartbeat of the deal, the feeling that Celtic have not only strengthened the squad, but also made a statement to the rest of Scottish football. This is not a case of hoarding talent. This is a declaration of intent, a clear message that Celtic intend to remain dominant domestically and also sharpen their edge in Europe, where they have often been accused of lacking that final touch of cutting quality in attack. When you walk past the stadium on a night like this, you can hear conversations floating out of pubs, people leaning over bar counters and talking about Miovski like he is already a legend before even kicking a ball for Celtic. It is the type of transfer that grips the imagination because it was not just a straightforward transaction, but one that felt like it carried layers of intrigue, ambition, and maybe even a hint of rivalry politics. Aberdeen supporters had been singing his praises week after week, and losing a star player to Celtic stings deeply, but for the Hoops, it is seen as a ruthless move, a perfect piece of business that makes them stronger while leaving a rival weakened. Yet it is more than just numbers on a contract or statistics on a sheet. It is about belief. Miovski represents a fresh chapter, a promise of goals that change tight games, of moments that tilt titles, and of European nights where the Parkhead faithful can once again dare to dream. There is a sense that this signing could become a turning point, the type of catalyst that lifts an already successful side to a new level of ferocity and sharpness. Fans are already imagining his first goal, the roar of the crowd, and the feeling that something truly special has just begun. Transfers always come wrapped in narratives, and this one is no different. The talk of wages, length of contract, and potential resale value is always floating in the background, but when it comes to Celtic fans, it is about what happens on the pitch, about how Miovski will fit into a system that demands intensity, hunger, and an almost spiritual connection with the crowd. They talk about how he presses high, how he never shies away from running into defenders, how he carries himself with a confidence that borders on arrogance, but somehow comes across as necessary swagger rather than vanity. Supporters crave that kind of edge, that aura of a player who does not just want to score, but believes he must score, as if it is his destiny. With Celtic's wide players capable of delivering endless service, the prospect of Miovski feeding off crosses and through balls is intoxicating. Already, rival managers are looking at this transfer with furrowed brows, knowing that preparing to face Celtic has just become significantly more complicated. This is not only a footballing acquisition, it is a psychological weapon, one that tilts the balance in a league where margins are often razor thin. The question now is how quickly he can adapt to the intensity and expectation of playing for Celtic. Some players arrive at Parkhead and take time to settle, swallowed up by the weight of expectation, while others thrive instantly, fueled by the roar of 60,000 voices urging them forward. The whispers say Miovski has the mentality for the latter, that he thrives under pressure, that he feeds on the stage rather than fearing it. If that proves true, then this signing could be a masterstroke not just for this season, but for the club's long-term project of building a side that dominates domestically while leaving its mark in Europe. Imagine him against some of the continent's biggest defenses, his sharp runs punishing a moment's hesitation, his poacher's instinct delivering goals that lift Celtic supporters off their seats in unison. That is the dream, and right now, Glasgow feels like it is alive with the possibility that this dream is about to become reality. There is electricity in the air, the sense that a new hero is about to etch his name into the rich tapestry of Celtic's storied history. For Aberdeen fans, it is bittersweet, the pain of losing a hero mingled with the pride of having nurtured a player who now makes such a significant leap. They know the pain of seeing their stars leave for the Glasgow Giants, but they also know it is part of the cycle, part of the inevitable hierarchy of Scottish football. Some cling to the hope that their club will reinvest wisely, that Miovski's departure will not mean decline but rebirth, yet deep down, there is a recognition that his shoes will be difficult to fill. For Celtic, though, this is another chapter in their habit of plucking the best talents from within the league, a move that has so often proven decisive in maintaining dominance. And while this tradition sometimes draws criticism for draining the league's competitiveness, Celtic supporters will argue passionately that it is not their responsibility to weaken themselves for the sake of others. For them, this is about progression, about ensuring that when they march into European competition, they do so armed with the best weapons available. And right now, Miovski looks like a sharp blade ready to be unsheathed at the right moment. Beyond the football, there is also the romance of the transfer, the way it connects with the history and culture of Celtic as a club. Supporters love to imagine themselves as part of the story, imagining the moment when Miovski first pulls the shirt over his head, standing in front of the fans and feeling that rush of connection that transcends the game itself. They talk about him learning the songs, understanding the ethos, realizing that Celtic is not just a football team, but a community, a way of life. That is what makes this signing different from a purely mercenary deal. It feels like Miovski has chosen not just a club, but a family, one that will support him fiercely if he gives everything on the pitch. The buzz on social media reflects that sentiment, with fans already creating chants, editing highlight reels with Celtic colors, and envisioning him scoring against their greatest rivals. That emotional buy-in, that sense of anticipation, is what transforms a transfer into a movement. And right now, Celtic Park feels like it is on the cusp of a new era defined by a striker who brings hope, excitement, and the promise of unforgettable nights under the lights. It is important to note that signings are never guaranteed to succeed, and there are cautionary tales littered throughout football history. Yet in Miovski's case, there seems to be a confidence that he will thrive, not least because his style is tailor-made for Celtic's current setup. He is not just a goal poacher waiting in the box, but a forward who contributes across the pitch, dropping deep to link play, dragging defenders out of position, and creating space for others. In a league where teams often sit deep and defend with stubborn organization, that kind of movement can be the difference between frustration and breakthrough. Already, pundits are predicting that he will be one of the top scorers in Scotland next season, and whispers suggest that Celtic are already planning how to integrate him seamlessly into their system during preseason. The mood is optimistic, almost giddy, as if supporters cannot quite believe their luck that a player who caused them headaches in opposition colors is now one of their own. The transformation from foe to hero is a storyline that fans adore, and with Miovski, it feels like this tale is only just beginning. Every signing has ripple effects, and this one stretches beyond Celtic Park. Rival fans are already debating what this means for the balance of power in the league, with some fearing that the gap between Celtic and the chasing pack will widen even further. Others argue that it raises the overall standard, forcing competitors to lift their game in response. Either way, Miovski's move has injected a sense of drama and anticipation into Scottish football that is rare outside of Derby Day. The television cameras will linger on him in his debut, every touch scrutinized, every movement analyzed, because everyone wants to see if he can live up to the hype. For Celtic, though, the belief is already there. They have secured a player who not only brings goals, but embodies the hunger and ambition of a club that refuses to stand still. And for the supporters, there is only one thought on their minds. The next game cannot come soon enough, because they are desperate to see their new striker in action, desperate to see him light up the pitch, desperate to feel that surge of joy when a signing becomes a superstar before their very eyes. The city of Glasgow thrives on football and gossip, and when the gossip turns into a deal of this magnitude, it feels like the streets themselves are humming with excitement. There is talk of how Miovski's arrival could completely reshape the way Celtic approach certain matches, especially against opponents who prefer to sit deep and frustrate. For too long, Celtic fans have grumbled about missed chances, about the lack of a clinical edge when the ball fell into the box during tense games. Now, with Miovski leading the line, they believe that those agonizing afternoons of wasted dominance could be over. Imagine him in the 6-yard box, a ball dropping kindly, and his predatory instincts taking over without hesitation. That is the dream Celtic supporters are buying into. The vision of a striker who does not just participate, but finishes ruthlessly. And already, his name is on the lips of pundits debating whether he could become the league's top scorer in his first season wearing green and white. It is bold talk, perhaps even ambitious, but Celtic is a club that thrives on ambition, and Miovski seems to represent precisely the kind of bold step forward that supporters crave. There is also the unspoken element of rivalry that gives this transfer an extra spark of spice. Whenever Celtic make a move that strengthens their squad, eyes immediately turn towards Ibrox, where the Rangers' faithful watch with wary suspicion, wondering what this means for their own title ambitions. In footballing terms, this is not just about adding another forward. It is about striking fear into the hearts of rivals, creating the sense that every mistake will be punished, every slip will be turned into an opportunity by a forward who only needs a half chance to bury the ball. Rangers fans will be watching closely, their pundits already dissecting Miovski's strengths and weaknesses, searching for clues as to whether he is the real deal or a gamble in disguise. But even in that doubt lies recognition of danger, and that is exactly what Celtic supporters relish. The knowledge that their rivals are worried. In a city where football is never just a sport but a way of life, these psychological games matter almost as much as what happens on the pitch. And in Miovski, Celtic might just have secured the perfect pawn that could become a queen in the season's chess match. What makes this moment even more intoxicating for supporters is the sense that Celtic have beaten others to the punch. Whispered rumors suggest that clubs from abroad have been circling Miovski, considering moves that would have taken him out of Scotland entirely. Yet Celtic moved decisively, ensuring he would not just remain in the league, but do so in their colors. That sharpness in the transfer market sends out a message, not just domestically but across Europe. Celtic will not hesitate to strengthen when opportunity arises. For fans, it adds another layer of pride, because it shows ambition, not contentment. They are not merely protecting what they already have. They are building for more, hungry for bigger stages, grander nights, and deeper runs in competitions that demand both quality and courage. Miovski is part of that vision, part of a plan to elevate Celtic from a dominant Scottish side into a team that carries genuine menace on the European scene. The thought of him scoring on a Champions League night under the Parkhead lights is already enough to send shivers down the spine of fans who believe that moments of magic are once again within touching distance. And then there is the personal journey of the player himself, which adds a romantic undertone to the move. Miovski has battled his way up, proving himself step by step, earning respect with hard work, consistency, and a refusal to shrink from challenges. He is not arriving with the air of a superstar who expects things to be handed to him. He is coming in with the hunger of someone who wants to prove himself on the biggest stage Scotland can offer. Supporters admire that kind of story, because it resonates with the ethos of Celtic as a club that values graft as much as glamour. Already, there are tales of his relentless training sessions, of his obsession with improving, of the mentality that has carried him from underdog to headline signing. For fans, that is fuel for belief, because they know that talent without mentality can crumble under the pressure of Parkhead. Miovski appears to bring both, and that combination makes him not just a signing but a potential leader in attack. Someone who embodies the fighting spirit that Celtic Park thrives upon. This narrative makes his arrival more than a deal. It makes it a story of destiny unfolding in real time. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Social media is a carnival of reactions. Each comment thread a battlefield of excitement, skepticism, and rivalry-fueled banter. Celtic supporters flood timelines with celebrations, memes, and video edits that transform Miovski into a hero before he has even stepped onto the pitch for his debut. Aberdeen fans respond with bitterness tinged with reluctant admiration, recognizing that losing him to Celtic is both a compliment to his quality and a cruel blow to their own ambitions. Rangers fans, predictably, are torn between dismissive jibes and nervous admissions that Celtic may have pulled off a masterstroke. In a football culture where perception matters almost as much as performance, this digital noise becomes part of the theater, shaping the narrative before a ball is kicked. For Miovski, it means pressure, but also an avalanche of support, the kind of backing that can lift a player to new heights. For Celtic, it means momentum, the feeling that they have not just signed a player but created a wave of energy that could carry them into the new season with force. And for the league as a whole, it means attention, headlines, and intrigue that makes Scottish football more compelling than ever. One cannot ignore the tactical questions that emerge from this move. How will Miovski fit into a Celtic side that often demands versatility and relentless energy from its forwards? Will he play as a lone striker, or could he thrive in a partnership, feeding off the creative talents buzzing around him in midfield? Pundits are already sketching out scenarios, diagrams filled with arrows pointing towards goal, imagining how his presence will stretch defenses and open up spaces for teammates. In matches where Celtic are forced to break down stubborn backlands, his movement could be the key to unlocking resistance, dragging defenders out of shape and capitalizing on half-chances that others might squander. Yet there is also curiosity about how he will handle the demands of pressing, the relentless closing down of opposition defenders that Celtic supporters expect as part of their high-octane football. If Miovski adapts quickly, the team could become even more terrifying to face, a machine with a new cutting edge. If he struggles, questions will arise. But for now, the optimism outweighs the doubts, and the narrative is one of excitement rather than hesitation. Inside the Celtic dressing room, whispers suggest his arrival has already lifted the mood. Strikers thrive on competition, and his presence is bound to sharpen those around him, forcing established names to raise their levels or risk losing their place. That internal push often brings the best out of squads, and Celtic's coaching staff will be delighted with the hunger it is likely to generate. Players talk, of course, and the buzz is that Miovski has been warmly welcomed, his quiet confidence leaving an impression from day one. In football, chemistry matters, not just in terms of tactics, but in personality, and early signs suggest he could integrate seamlessly into the fabric of the team. That blend of ability and attitude is what makes supporters believe they are about to witness something special. Because at Celtic Park, it is not enough to score goals. You have to embody the spirit, the fight, the togetherness. And from the way his teammates already speak of him, it seems Miovski might be the kind of striker who does more than just find the net. He might inspire the dressing room in ways that stretch far beyond statistics. As the new season looms, anticipation builds to fever pitch. Every preseason friendly, every glimpse of Miovski in training gear, is dissected by fans desperate to predict how quickly he will explode onto the scene. Bookmakers are already adjusting odds for top scorer, pundits are sharpening their takes, and rivals are plotting how to contain a striker who thrives on the very chaos defenders hate most. For Celtic, this is more than a transfer. It is a spark that has reignited the belief of an entire fan base. They are dreaming again, not just of titles and trophies, but of magical European nights, of goals that echo across the continent, of a striker who could carve his name into club folklore. In a world where transfers are often overhyped, this one feels different, charged with authenticity, rooted in genuine belief. And as Celtic Park prepares to welcome its newest hero, the message is clear. BOJAN MIOVSKI is here, and with him comes not just goals, but hope, hunger, and the intoxicating promise of glory. The city is ready, the fans are ready, and the stage is set for history to unfold. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.